Okay, welcome to Finance Talk. This is Saturday morning, February 17th of 2018. This is Ali Taraftar, your guide and mentor, and today we're going to have an interesting discussion. We're going to go deep into a concept that most of you will probably already recognize, but I'd like to explore it with you and give you new insights on how to leverage this concept. And this is a sought-after talk because a lot of individuals have asked me in the past, "Hey, Ali, can you talk about Robert Kiyosaki? Can you give me some insights on what his strategy is and how can I apply it in my personal life?" So today's talk, we're going to discuss the four quadrants by Robert Kiyosaki. If you're not familiar with who Mr. Kiyosaki is, he's a famous author. He wrote the book Rich Dad, Poor Dad. It's a worldwide bestseller. Millions of copies have been sold. And I have a deep, deep respect for this gentleman. In fact, a lot of people in the financial industry recognize him as a pioneer for this four quadrant diagram that we're going to explore together for this talk. Also, an interesting thing is I'm going to demonstrate this to you on a virtual whiteboard, which I specifically downloaded for the purposes of this conversation today in Finance Talk. So yes, I'm going to give you a fair warning. Excuse my terrible, terrible handwriting on the whiteboard here. I'm using a mouse, so I'll do my best to do it the right way, and of course, try to figure it out as we go. Okay, so let me go over to my whiteboard so that I can share that screen with you and we can get started. So just bear with me as we go there. Okay, so now you should see on your screen a whiteboard. So Mr. Kiyosaki, the four quadrant diagram, well, it all starts with splitting it into the four quadrants, right? It all starts with splitting it into the four quadrants. And I'm going to label them before we begin talking so that I can explain to you the proper way of what they're meant for and what they're designed for in properly. So the four quadrant diagram consists of four different quadrants as specified. The first top left is the employee quadrant, and we're going to talk about what they are, what they signify, and what you can do to shift your mindset, your lifestyle to be participating in any of these quadrants. Now, for most of us, about 99% of Americans, and practically maybe the world, I would say, they all start at this quadrant right here. And this is because 99% of the world is employed. They're working. They have to live paycheck to paycheck. And essentially it needs to be in such that, for survival, right? It's the financial conditioning. It's for survival. So for the most part, individuals in this quadrant, what they do is they trade their time for the money. So it doesn't matter how much you work or how hard you work. Based on that limited time that you have, this is where you're stuck. Okay, this is where you're stuck. So if you're an employee, right, and you're working, let's say 8 hours a week, and you're working for, let's say, $30 an hour, what happens now is your time, we know that it's a very limited resource. You're capped at that $30 an hour because you don't have, more than, let's say, 40-hour work weeks. Even if you do overtime, you still can't catch up to significant wealth. So for the most part, individuals in this category are stuck. And I say that it's because individuals in this category, for the most part of their life, about 80% to 90% of their life, they have to work to support family. They have to work to sustain, to make a living, and they end up basically working for the rest of their lives, which is sad, right? Which is sad because we want individuals in this category to be more successful, to be more wealthy, right? And that's what I'm going to be teaching you today. And one of the things is, like, when these people are fed up and they say, look, I want to escape the rat race. I want to leave this 9-to-5 job and I want to do something for myself. I want to be more wealthy. I want to build more. So what they end up becoming is a self-employed person. Self-employed people are basically in business for themselves. So they earn. They basically try to generate income in their own terms. And the way it works for a self-employed individual is that person has to trade money. Can you guess what it is? A self-employed person, what does he do for money? He trades money for clients. Because if a person who's self-employed doesn't have clients, he doesn't sell, he doesn't do business, he's not going to make money. So people in this category, no matter how much time they put in and no matter how much effort they put in, if they don't have clients, right? If they don't have clients, they will not generate any income. So to generate more income, they have to get more clients. And same thing here. Like here you're limited, so you can't really do anything. But how much you earn, for example, if you want to increase your capacity for the amount of dollars you earn for your time, then you have a whole bunch of qualifications and standards that you have to meet. And that means you have to be more skilled. So a lot of people who are more skilled, technically, they feel that they're overqualified or their value is too much in a workplace, that they decide to take those skills and work for themselves. And this is where they end up in the self-employed quadrant. Now, people who are technically here, right? People who are technically here, what they do is they transition. So once they have enough money, they're growing their business. And what they do is they transition and they go to the business section. The business section. So what is a business quadrant? What does that mean? Well, here, individuals who are making money are trading money for, can you guess? That's right, a business system. And I say system not in the faint of heart. I want people to understand that this is very, very important. Here, if you want to earn money, you need to have a system. And when you need to build a system, you absolutely need to work at it, right? Your business has to flourish. Your business has to grow. You have to have a good process. And typically what happens is people who are in this category either started here or here. It's not impossible to go from an employee to starting a business system and even acquiring a business system. So the beautiful thing about the United States and quite a lot of first world countries is as long as you have something called money, right? As long as you have something called money, you can acquire a business system. In fact, you can earn more by acquiring a business system if you know what you're doing. But the objective is you need to know what you're doing. If you don't know what you're doing, you can own a business system, but it cannot work. So a successful concept of this is, example, is McDonald's, right? McDonald's is a very successful business system. Then you have, situations where you have like other franchises. It could be Tim Hortons, it could be Tim Hortons is a Canadian brand, Boston Pizza, Pizza Hut, whatever it is. They're successful business systems. They work. They have a process, procedures, protocols for the quality of their food and the way they deliver things and how they create stuff. So it's well documented. It's basically how do you say, predictable, and that's why for the most part a business system can work. Okay, that's why our business system can work. But you need money. Okay, so unless you're a self-employed person, and I give you an example, if you're a lawyer and you started your own practice and you're trading your dollars for clients, and you start getting more clients, and then all of a sudden you have so much clients that your demand is going up, and then you cannot service them. What do, right? That you create a business. You create a business out of it. And then what ends up happening is a lot of people who are looking for opportunity, who are looking to grow, are actually going to come from here, right? They're going to say, wow, this let's say so on and so forth. Let's say John, right? John is a lawyer. He's getting so many clients because he's really good at what he does. Okay. And his name is out there. His branding is solid. So people start calling John for all sorts of legal inquiries. And then all of a sudden, John has so many clients that he's over inundated with serving them because he can't. His time is limited. He's going to handle each client's case individually. So now he starts delegating. He creates a business system. He said, okay, somebody's going to do admin. Somebody's going to do, let's say, data entry. Okay. And then somebody's going to do, let's say, PR, right? So these are some mundane tasks that can be assigned, they can be delegated. So people can basically, from here, take up roles and responsibilities in any of these categories and maybe more. Maybe sometimes you can hire other lawyers to join your business. And all of a sudden now you have a functional business system that's highly scalable. So remember one thing about business system, it has to be highly scalable, meaning in your absence, the business has to grow. And it should be able to grow. It shouldn't depend on you. So that's what we're looking at a business system. Now, if you go down and you say, well, okay, this is great, but I want to make more money. I want to be really, really, really wealthy. Okay. And this is what the final quadrant is all about. This is the investor quadrant. And in this quadrant, individuals who are here, basically, they're trading assets for money. So I'll give you some examples. It could be real estate, it could be multifamily units, it could be a business. They can be trading business up there for the money. So they can be going into a business that's underperforming, and then take that and say, oh, you know what? I'm going to make this business, I'm going to make it successful. I'm going to increase its capacity, its capability, and then eventually go back to the market, right? And then sell that business, go back to the market and sell that business. So for the most part, that can work very nicely if as long as a person knows what they're doing. An investor quadrant, what happens is now they can have lots and lots of people working for them under their belt while they delegate and make sure that they're flipping assets. And a business is great. They can hire people from the employee quadrant who are really good at what they do, or comfortable, and then make them successfully increase the capability of this business, make it more cash flowing, generate more customers for that business, make it more uh, prominent in such that it's beating its competitors, and then all of a sudden the business is worth so much, right? And then that's an asset for an investor, and they can take that business and then go to the market and say, well, I got a business, you guys can acquire it. It's predictable, its sales are growing, it's stable, and then basically trade that business system for money. Okay, so that's an asset for an investor. So that's pretty much the overview of the four quadrant diagram. I know that it's not the best drawing, but I wanted to be more specific, and I wanted to share it with you so that you kind of get the perspective of where Robert Kiyosaki was coming from. So going back to our slide, I want to continue on and then basically move on to our next topic, because I want you to benefit. So this was Robert Kiyosaki's four quadrant diagram. Now going into our next topic, I want to talk about the 4-day mini course, the free course. This is basically if you've had the chance, or if you haven't, actually, it's a 4-day mini course. I go on video, I talk to you, you see my face, and I teach you concepts. The first course is about the 3 ingredients on successful credit repair. The second topic is on the idea of how to attract more capital. How do you position yourself and your financial condition so that you can automatically attract more capital? The third topic is how to instantly, how to instantly increase your net worth 5 to 10 times. It's a very important topic. Excuse me while I drink some water. Sorry about that. And then, excuse me. And then finally, we talk about the idea of how to fail-proof your financial plan. How to fail-proof your financial plan. You need to do this. So once again, bestcreditresources.com/free course. It's really easy to sign up. Once you click on it, you'll be led to a website, and then the website will open. And then basically what you have to do from there is sign up. All you have to do is basically put your email. And once you have your email in, you should be able to sign up. So let me show you how the website looks like so that you can actually see it for yourself. So in this screen, this is basically what the website looks like. This is how it works. Okay. So once you're there, okay, what you want to do is you want to sign up. You go to enroll for free. Okay. And then once you click that, all you have to do is place your email address, and then you subscribe. Now, what happens is during this course, what we do is we actually talk quite a bit. Like, it's a period of 4 days. I deliver the content to you in a period of 4 days. And the reason I do that is because I want you to digest the content that I'm sharing. I want you to absorb it so that you can effectively apply it or write it down and have a thinking process go through to make sure that you're catching on to whatever is being taught. In addition to that, by the end of the course, you actually obtain a free gift, which is a checklist based on all the 4 days of video that I share with you. And then by the time you're done, you get access to a free training, which is an hour and 15 minutes or so. It's a free webinar. I'll go a little bit more deeper into the financial strategy and some of the stuff that I did to my clients behind the scenes, so you can actually see it yourself as evidence. Okay. So let's talk about financial discovery. Financial discovery is a term that individuals don't necessarily comprehend. Okay, it's a term that a lot of people don't comprehend, and what that means is basically, going over and discovering who you are, and such that you're able to do it in a very easy manner. Just like an audit. You basically do an audit on yourself, and then you figure out, okay, well, what can work for me? Okay, what can work for me? So in this screen, we're back to our whiteboard. I'm going to share that concept with you so that you can look at it and understand it a little bit more. So the second thing we're going to talk about is we're going to discuss the idea of where you are now. Okay? Where you are now. And then the second thing we're going to do is where do you want to be in the future? And then you have to label those things. You have to label what you want to do in the future, because if you don't, then what's going to happen is there's no clear direction. And then, of course, you're not really sure of what to do and how to do it, right? So for the future, you need to identify a couple things, okay? You need to say, what are some of your goals, right? Like, let's say if you want better credit, you write it down. You say, I want better credit. Then maybe you say, I want a home. A lot of people's financial goals is to own a home. Maybe you want to own a business. So you say, I want to own a business. So you have to write it down. And then once you get there, next we're going to go to the third step on financial discovery, is the time, right? For most, it could be 6 months. For a lot of people, it could be 12 months. Some, it could be 36 months. But the goal of time is to really identify, right, what and how long you're giving yourself to achieve these objectives right here, right? So time is based on what you want to do right at this stage and how long you're going to give yourself to reach those goals and objectives. And then once you have that, the point number 4, which you want to write down, is why do you want to do all this? Okay, this is what we call pain points. And the reason I say you have to write down your pain points is because if you don't identify what your pain points are, what's making you stay up at night, what's causing the frustration, right? So let's say not enough money could be a pain point, right? Not enough money. Respect could be a pain point. You don't have enough respect because people look at you and like you're not adequate enough for yourself, or you don't have enough money. Maybe it's to earn more and it's to build wealth. If you don't have enough wealth, then you're struggling and you don't have time for family. Maybe it's family, right? You're not spending enough time with your family. You're not earning enough. So, these are all pain points. And these are some of the things that you have to like basically write down in point number 4, right? And the reason why you want to do that is because when you start off here, when you start off at point 1, you say, where are you now? Where are you now? And then if you say, okay, well, I'm stable. I have a lot of money in my bank. I'm comfortable. If I lost my job, I don't have to worry. Then you're okay. Maybe, for you don't have much pain point, and then you don't have an urgency for looking at the future and such that you absolutely need a lot of different things, right? But let's say if you're in a very difficult situation financially and personally, and you're not earning as much as you want to earn, and you're stuck, right? You're stuck. What happens now is you want to say, okay, well, I want to plan so that I can tackle some of the goals and objectives that I want, right? So what you do is you head over here and you say, okay, for my future, what are some of the things that I want? What are some of the things that are an immediate need for me? If you say, well, I want better credit, then why? Why do you want better credit? Ask yourself this. Home. Why do you want a home? Business. Why do you want a business, right? And you take your time answering them. And then you say, well, I want a better business for more money. I want a home for my family. I want better credit because I need to sign up for my home. Or let's say I need better credit because my job requires it, or I want to get better rates in my cards. I want to increase my cash flow. Whatever it is, what you got to do is you got to write down what you call reasons. Okay? You got to write down your reasons. So once you have that, right, like in the future you, like you say, where am I now? The future me, here's what I need. Why do I need them? Put the reasons down. And then what you do is you go down and say, well, how long am I willing to wait to reach my target objectives, right? So if you're waiting for 6 months, if you're waiting for 12 months, or if you're waiting for 36 months, whatever it is, how long do you give yourself realistically to achieve those targets? And then ultimately what you want to do is, you want to actually go through the reasoning and say, why is it that I'm suffering right now? What's causing me to urgently need these 3 categories or whatever it is that you wrote down? What are some of my pain points? Okay. And this is effective. because a lot of people don't take their time doing this, right? A lot of people will listen to this video and probably just walk away and just continue listening and coming back next week and just constantly educate themselves without implementing. And it's really useless unless you actually implement. So I strongly encourage you, if you're listening, to take your time, okay, to take your time to identify where you are right now because you need to, and then say, this is me in the future, okay? And here's what I need. Okay, here are the things that I need most, and here are the reasons why I need them. Here are the biggest reasons why I need these things in my future. Okay. And I'm giving myself whatever amount of time you're giving yourself. Let's say if I'm giving myself 6 months to get better credit, I'm giving myself 12 months to sign up for a home. I'm giving myself, 2 years to start a successful business or even grow a successful business. Right. And then you say, well, the reason I want to do all this, the reason I see my future is because I'm hurting right now. I don't have a lot of money. And these are reaffirmations, right? Like you want to print this out, write it down. You got to look at your pain every day. If you don't look at your pain every day, it won't encourage you to go to your future. Okay. So a lot of people say, oh no, pain is negative. That's just a cowardly way out. Okay. Pain is not negative. Pain is beautiful. Because if you don't have this, there was no drive, there's no fuel for your future. Pain is probably the best friend you'll ever have. So you have to consider pain as being something positive, not negative. Because if you don't consider pain to be positive, you always have a negative mindset and you don't have time to think about your future because you're too busy being indulged in the pain being negative. But if you say pain is beautiful because, man, I wish I had more money, it's hurting me. So how do I get more money? And you just become more creative. Your mind just unleashes its creativity and then you're just so much more positive. Okay. And then you can actually achieve more if you're positive with pain points. Like, oh, I don't have much wealth. I look at other people driving their fancy BMWs and Mercedes or even Rolls Royce, Phantoms and Wraiths. A lot of people have a lot of respect out there when they go out. People just love them. That guy's family's so well off. The kids are going to vacation every month or whatever it is, right? And then that's just like, oh, you're there. Yes, it hurts. Okay, it's hurt. That's why we call it pain. But when you look at that, it should drive you to say, I want more vacations for my family. I want that car. I want that respect. I want that money. And how do I reach that? And how much am I giving myself one step at a time? What are some of the reasons I want to do all this, right? And then you look at yourself now and you say, wow, I really got to change some of that element that I have in my life that's not really giving me anything. So that's really financial discovery. It's really going deep in and learning and the notion of understanding, okay, well, what can I do more and to achieve more for myself and to be more prosperous? And essentially that's what it boils down to. Now, going back to our presentation, let's talk about the next step of what to do. Okay, once you are at that stage where you're doing financial discovery, next is to basically fuel your financial potential. It's sort of look at your condition and to fuel it so that you can move ahead more comfortably and more, of course, confidently as being who you are and what you want to achieve for yourself. Okay, so let's go over to our whiteboard once again. Okay. So going back to our whiteboard, right? So we talk about Robert Kiyosaki's first 4-quadrant diagram. We discussed the employee, the self-employed, the business system, and of course the investor. We talked about financial discovery, right? We talked about where you are now, where you want to be in the future, what do you want to achieve, why do you want to achieve them, okay? How much time are you giving yourself and why, how much is it hurting you? What's the pain points that you're going through at this time? And I said, be positive with this to fuel your financial potential. So we're talking about fueling your financial potential. And in this presentation right here, I'm going to draw out 2 columns. Now, this is actually extracted from one of the 4-day days of the 4-day mini course that's for free at bestcreditresources.com/free course. And if you want, there are a lot of goodies there. So I invite you to go over there again. So let's talk about this fueling of the financial potential for individuals. Okay, let's talk about that. And the reason why we want to talk about that is because it shares a concept with us that makes us think twice before we take certain financial actions. Okay, so we talked about assets, we talk about liabilities. Now, what can be considered an asset? And keep in mind, okay, just a quick reminder. Your asset has to be income producing, and your liabilities have to be something that's draining your financial capability. So income producing asset could be an investment property, investment real estate. Okay. Sorry about that terrible drawing here. Investment real estate, that's giving you cash flow. Another one could be a business, right? If you have a successful business and it's producing you income, that can be an asset, right? Another one can be gold. You decided to hoard gold because you felt that Bitcoin was not too scary, and then you decided, oh my God, I want to buy all this type of gold. And at any point, you can actually sell that off to increase the cash in your asset column. And then you have liabilities. So we're going to go over and use our red pen for that. So liability, like let's say if you have a real estate that's investment property, what's eating away your cash flow from liability? So one of the biggest things is like, let's say you have mortgage, right? You have mortgage. So you got to look at that. You got to look at property taxes. Okay. And then you got other expenses. But all this is eating away. Okay, let's fix that here. All this is eating away from your income producing real estate. Okay. All this is eating away from your income producing real estate. Okay, I'm not sure what happened there. Okay, let's go back. So you gotta say, okay, well, what can I do to reduce my liabilities on this column? What can I do to reduce my liabilities in this column? And it's really, something that you gotta effectively do. Okay. So this is something that you got to look at, this asset column and then liability column, and then you got to break it down. You say, okay, one of the other things I want to teach you is debt. Okay, a lot of people have debt and then they have interest. And they say, well, Ali, what's the difference? What's the difference between debt and interest? Keep it simple. Let's say your debt is $50,000 and how much you're paying every month on that is $3,000. Okay. And then out of that, your interest is $2,100. What do you think is more dangerous? Clearly, here, your interest is more dangerous. If you were to reduce that to say $500, right? How much saving could you achieve for that? You would be achieving a minimum of $1,600 in savings, which can easily go back to your asset column. So if you add another $1,600 in your pocket just by getting a better interest rate, what have you done for yourself, right? What have you done for yourself? So it's really like tackling that and saying, well, some of the liabilities that I have, what do I have to do to reduce them? And you have to be realistic. Like debt, you have to maintain. You don't want to screw it up because you want good credit. You need it, okay? And then you have interest rates. There are a lot of cards out there that have high interest rate. Some of them have 25%. It's ridiculous. Store cards. I don't even know how people are surviving with that. But here's the thing. If you have a way to negotiate that and bring it down, especially if you're paying a lot, you can bring it down, you can save, and whatever savings you achieve, you can actually put it back towards your asset column or reinvest it. A lot of people, what they do is they take that extra 1,600, right? And then they pay down the debt quicker. Every month they achieve 1,600, they put it down towards the principal, and now all of a sudden the debt is reduced, which automatically increases your cash flow. Why? You can't see the effect of this right away because it doesn't show on your balance sheet, but we know for a fact that the next month's payment is probably going to be less as a minimum. But you consistently make that $3,000 payment because your interest is, of course, less. So you maintain that standard of capital. And then what's going to happen is your debt eventually is going to be super low to the point where now you're actually getting cash of $3,000 once your debt is paid off instead of 1,600 back into your asset column. And then you can basically reinvest whatever you want to reinvest for your future growth. Okay, so that's just an example that I wanted to demonstrate to you, and I want you to write it down. So I'll give you a homework, an assignment that I want you to really think about. I want you to look at the assignment and consider doing it because it's going to help you. Okay, so here's the assignment. I want you to look at your credit card statement. If you have credit card debt, I want you to look at them, and I want you to see the interest rate. Okay. I want to see how much you're paying, or actually, I want you to write down how much you're paying every month as a minimum payment. I want you to call those financial institutions and ask them, what's the interest rate on that? What am I paying? And how much have I paid so far? Because they have an accounting department that actually can give you all this information. So you got to ask them, how much have I paid so far? So look at that. And let's say if you have this debt for more than 10 years and you're still paying on it, or maybe 5 years, I want you to calculate how much you paid so far. So let's say if you had a $10,000 credit card debt and you had it for about 5 years, and the accounting department of the credit card company says, well, you spent 27,000. How much did you lose? You lost $17,000. Okay. Of course, you have your payment obligations and interest, but where can that other 17,000 have gone to help you financially to achieve more of your goals, right? And this is one important homework that you need to do. I want you to pick up all the statements of your credit cards. I want you to look at them. I want you to look at the interest rate. I want you to call them based on the 1-800 number they have. And then, of course, ask them the 3 questions. Okay, well, how long have I been a customer for with your company? When did I open this card? What is my minimum payment, including interest? Okay, and then I want you to ask them, how much have I paid so far with calculating all my minimum payments and payments so far with this credit card? So I want you to, write that down and ask those questions. I want you to just digest the information that you're about to receive, because some of you may be surprised. Some of you will say, wow, I didn't know I was paying so much, and how much am I losing? So it's going to immediately shift your mindset to prioritize on reducing your interest obligations and then try to pay off your debt quicker. Okay. Because then you're going to say, wow, missed opportunity, 17,000 spent here. I spent an extra 5,000. I spent an extra $200. I spent an extra, I don't know, $50,000. So this is the long-term game. Okay. You always want to increase your assets. That 17,000 could have been with you in your pocket right now. It could have been an asset. It could be something that you can use towards building a business that can generate maybe $100,000. I don't know. But the goal is to really assess that. So ask them that, those 3 questions. Once again, how long have I been a customer with your business and your credit card company? What is my minimum payment, including interest? And how much have I paid so far on this card from the date of the account opening? Okay, because then you're going to see, okay, wow, this is what I spent. Okay, so once you have all that information, again, dissect it, understand it. Okay, really take your time to analyze, because once you have that, you'll find yourself a little bit more, I guess, relieved, because now you can have some sort of clear direction of what you need to do on your financial priorities. And then once you're there, then, good luck to you, because then what's going to happen is you'll be in a better position to move forward with more financial confidence. Okay. So that was it for today. I hope that my whiteboard demonstration wasn't too horrific for you to watch and witness, hopefully. But I needed to share that information. I wanted it to be out there in front of you so that you can learn and apply and gain knowledge from. Okay. Well, if you have any questions, comments, or feedback, you're more than welcome to write to me by emailing talk@bestcreditresources.com. Again, that's talk@bestcreditresources.com. My name is Ali Taraftar. I'm your guide and mentor. I will be seeing you next week, hopefully in the same time in Finance Talk. Thank you for joining me. Bye for now.